Welcome everybody to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to my subscribers that has been with me from the start, and welcome newcomers. I hope you like what you see, and if so, be part of this journey with me, with us, growing a big family that we are, by hitting that subscription button and the bell notification to be notified of the new uploads. Up top, there's 3 little buttons. You can click there, slow down the video to the speed you'd like. Also turn your CC for closed caption on. Every stitch I read will be, not read, every stitch I say you can read down here and take notes. In the description box, I do have a link. You can just click there and it shows you how you can do all of these things in 2-minute video that I have created. I also want to thank every single one of you for 2022 that came through to help the women in need of thread, that have sent thread themselves or have donated money for them. Thank you so much. I am so grateful, and so are they. I also want to thank the women that have tagged me along creating my pieces. Thank you so much. And for the ones that are creating, please don't forget to tag. I do have a private crochet group. You are more than welcome to join in, be part of the family with us there, as long as you have a profile. There's too many scammers and too many frauds going on with the crochet groups nowadays. They're getting in there and they're scamming everybody out of their informations through mobiles or computers. They have links that says cut or bit. Don't open those links. These are hackers. They're scammers. Stay away from that. For that reason, my group is private. I also have a Facebook crochet page you can follow. I have Instagram and I have TikTok. All of these links are below in the description box. So thank you so much, everybody. And let's get started with the tutorials. I hope you're going to enjoy the tutorials for 2023. I have just launched 2 videos that I have started already 2023. So stay in good health, stay in good harmony with everyone, and don't be hard on yourself. You can create all things as long as you set your mind to it. Okay? I send you much loves and hugs. Okay, everyone. So I've been requested to do like a watermelon doily. People, I guess, like it to use it into on your table, but especially in the backyard for the summertime when they're receiving guests and they like to put their watermelons on the table and things like that, and they want the doilies to match it. So we're going to create this today. And these are 4-ply, 100% cotton thread. Same size, not the same, but similar to Aunt Lydia number 3. Mine's a little bit thinner, but Aunt Lydia is just perfect for those sizes. So we'll have the lime green, the forest green, the white, the pink, and the red. Okay, very easy tutorial. And I'll be using a 2.75 hook, a small one to tuck in loose ends, of course, and a pair of scissors. And if you find that your stitch, or should I say your doily, is curving up, especially you, Miss Joy, because I get a lot of comments from you that your patterns keep curling up. Now, I've mentioned many times that you can, when I'm calling out 1 chain, you can do 2 or 3 chain because your stitch is extremely tight, but not forgetting especially to use a hook 3 size bigger. So this is a 2.75. If my stitch is extremely tight, I'm using a 3.5 to loosen up those stitches so it does not curl up. It's normal for curls up a bit because once you block it and you light iron over it, stretching it with your hands when you're blocking, I like to use laundry softener, which smells good and it does perfect for the pattern. Spray on, stretch it. You could leave it dry on a dry surface or light iron it and pull with your hands and it will stretch into place. That's if it's not too curved. If it's extremely curved, then you absolutely need to use a bigger hook. And instead of doing, I call out 1 chain, instead of you doing 2 chain, then do 3 chain. That's going to help you tremendously with the pattern not curling up. So, Miss Joy, I hope this will get to you. I hope you see the video. Actually, I will link this video to the message that you sent me so you can pay attention and what I am telling you to do. I feel bad for you. I wish I was near you to teach you and show you, but it's very simple. do 2-3 chain if you have to, and use a 2-3 size bigger hook. It will help. Now, as you know, using a bigger size hook, see if you can see here. Of course, if you're using a regular hook that you usually do, the head is way thinner, but if you use a bigger one, that is going to loosen up your stitch. There should be no reason why you're going to be curling up. Okay, so let's get started, everyone. Please don't forget to give a thumbs up on the video. And it's Miss Joy Redford. I hope I got it right. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. It helps the channel to grow. Thank you to every single one of you, and for the women that came through for helping others in need of thread. I am so grateful to every single one of you, and so are the women. God bless you 10 million times more back. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, everyone. So I want to mention to you that because I'm in Europe, it's kind of hard for me to always take certain orders overseas because the shipping is horrendous. It's just unbelievable. Our government doesn't really help us here with shipping, you know, things out of the country. They make us pay like 40% taxes on everything here. So my monitor, Maggie from YouTube, she's in the US and she is creating these pieces amongst many other different pieces that I have created, and she sells them. So people that are in US that I get requested a lot if I sell my patterns, I do, but it's easier for me to sell them for people in Europe than to the US. But Maggie has agreed to create them and sell them. So if you're interested on ordering any type of doilies like this one and other ones, whatever the case may be. She does sell them in the US. It's much easier for you Americans to order from her. These go for $20 US each because there's quite a few different colors of thread and everything is costly. You know how it is. And I think it's pretty good pricing because I sell them for 20 euros, which is like 30 bucks a piece. So you guys are still in the game, and I have no choice because of the cost of shipping. And due to the fact that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different colors. So, you know, even if you create 1 row, 2 rows, it costs to buy the roll of that specific color. So I will leave her Etsy account below in the description box. If you're interested on ordering, she does take orders in. And so you can take it from there with her. And these are 30 centimeters, as I mentioned, but you can have it bigger. She can make it bigger for you if you'd like. Okay, just a little information for you guys. So, thank you, everyone. So, I'm going to start with the red. And the first thing you want to do is that magic circle in case you have a hard time with it. So, I like to make like an X on my finger, my 2 fingers, and then just take it into position, or do the X on your 2 fingers, right? Like that. And turn your fingers forward, bring the thread in the center, and I like to put it into position. So I can do my first chain. I'm just going to pull in that thread. In case you have a hard time, do a 6 chain. So I'm going to come back in and do a single. We are creating a double crochet, single and 2 chains. Some of you use your stitch is looser, so do a single and 1 chain. Coming back in and create 15 more double crochets. So we'll have a total of 16 double crochets. This is row 1. I'll meet you at the end. We're going to close up with a slip stitch on the 2nd chain. So I'm going to come into row 2. Now I don't want a mark to be going up the pattern, so I'm coming from behind, pulling this thread behind on the next space, and into the same space I'm going to do a single. if you find that you have a hard time, just when you close with slip stitch, go up chain 2 or 3 depending upon your tension, and 2 chain. This equals a double crochet and 1 more chain for space. So in reality we have a single and 3 chains. Next space, double crochet, 1 chain. Now Miss Joyce Ranford, if you're too tight, this is where it's going to have a problem. Do a 2 chain or even a 3 chain if you have to, but if you use a bigger hook, you will only need to do a 2 chain and not 3, okay? Using a bigger hook than what you're using now. That's extremely important. Next space, double crochet, 1 chain space. Miss Joyce, 2 or 3 chain space for you. I feel like I have to mention to try to help you out. God bless you. So we're going to do this all the way around. We have 16 double crochets. We'll be having 16 double crochets on row 2 with 1 chain space between them. If your tension's too tight, then do 2, 3 chain space, okay? So I've closed in with slip stitch. I'm going to come into the center here. See if I can bring you up a little bit more. Do a single, so I'm creating a double crochet and 2 chain. Inside of the same space, I'm creating another double crochet, 1 chain space. Miss Joy, try 2 chain space and using a bigger hook, okay? 1 chain. Next space, we're creating 2 double crochets per space and 1 chain space between them. In my case, in your case, could be 2 or 3 depending upon your tension. I hear this quite a bit, that your patterns curl up, especially you, Miss Joyce. So just, bigger hooks, 2, 3 times bigger, and 2, 3 chain instead of 1 or 2. Go with 3. You should have no issues with it. You're in control of your thread and your tension. No one else is. It's not the thread or the hook in control of you. You control your pattern. Okay? So this is row 3. I'll meet you at the end. And as you can see, because I did a 1 chain, it tends to curve up a bit here. But that's okay, because the next row, when it's a bit like this, it's normal. It's no problem. It's going to get fixed now on this row. And if it didn't fix on this row, it would have fixed on the next. The more double crochets we do, the flatter the pattern's going to be. Okay, we're going to go into row 4, so I call it the walk. I'm walking it with a slip stitch into the center of my space again. Now row 4 and 5 will be exactly the same. 1, so we did a single and 2 chain. Now this time we're going to do 3 double crochets, and row 5 also will be 3 double crochets. 1 chain space for some of you, 2 or 3 chain space. Okay? So we're going to repeat this all the way around. 3 double crochets, row 4 and 5, the same way. Like that. I'll meet you at the end. So I finished row 4, going into row 5, which will be a repeat. So I'm doing the walk with a slip stitch into the next space, single, 2 chain, and create your 3 double crochets, because row 4 and 5 is the same thing. 1 chain space for me, maybe 2, 3 chain space for you, depending upon your tension. Okay, so and now next row, row 6, will be with 4 double crochets. Same thing as we're doing here, but instead of 3, it's going to be 4. We have 2 rows of 3. Next row will be row of 4, row 6 of 4 double crochets. I'll meet you on the next row. So I finished row 5, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going into row 6. So I'm doing the walk with a slip stitch into the center. Another thing, people and Miss Joy, I understand that sometimes in certain countries we are so limited on receiving the different sizes of thread. And sometimes I have a hard time getting my own thread because I'm in an island and everything comes in through shipping. Now, If you have thinner thread, you can double or triple your thread. Let's say Aunt Lydia number 10. Instead of using one strand, use 2 or 3. Your pattern automatically becomes bigger, you work more comfortable with it, and use a bigger hook, of course, and you should be good to go. Because I have to do that many times, double or triple my thread. Okay, single 2, chain, double crochet, another double crochet, and another double crochet. So we're going to have 4 double crochet, 1 chain space for me, maybe 2, 3 for you, and create this row 6 with 4 double crochets all the way around. It's normal that it will curve up a bit, but it always gets fixed on the following row. As long as it's not folded like a hat, you're good to go. As you can see, if I put it down, it will lift a bit here, right? But once you stretch it, it should fall into place already. And if it doesn't, if it still leaps a bit, then with the iron and the blockage, however you block your patterns, you should be good to go. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end. This is 4 double crochets on row 6, 1 chain space. Okay, going into row 7, trying to brighten up here a little bit. So I'm going to do the walk, as I call it, with a slip stitch to the next one, and the next one, and the last one, and into the center with a single 2 chains. That equals a double crochet. I'm going to create 4 more, and I'll have a total of 5 double crochets. So I have 4 and 5. That's included with a single and 2 chain. 1 chain space into the next space, and create your 5 double crochets. This is row 7. We're going to repeat this all the way around the same way. 1 chain space for me, maybe 2, 3 for you, and 5 double crochets. Now I do have quite a bit of tutorials on the same doily. Differences, a few rows, the edging, and the color, but same concept. So there is quite a few of them. Some of you might say, oh yeah, I remember this base. Normally bases are used for so many different patterns, right? Everything changes on the colors you use. So I have quite a few bases with the same stitch, same rows. The difference will be the coloring, which changes completely the look of the pattern. It's amazing how it turns out, right? Okay, so continue row 7 with 5 double crochets per space, 1 chain or 2, 3 for some of you, okay? Okay, you guys, so I finished row 7. Trying to lighten up a little bit over here. Sometimes these cameras, they're not easy to work with, right? So I'm going to do the walk to the 3rd double crochet, which is the center one, with a single and 2 chain. This equals a double crochet. I'm going to come right back in the same space with another double crochet. So basically I have a group on the 3rd double crochet, 1, 2, 3, 2 double crochets, 1 chain. I'm coming into the center of 1 chain and create 2 double crochets, 1 chain into the 3rd double crochet with 2. So we're building groups of 2 double crochet inside of the 1 chain space and on the 3rd double crochet. So row 8 will be repeatedly the same way all the way around until the end. After we create 1 chain, we'll close in with a single. I'll meet you at the end. Okay, everyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Going into row 9. Slip stitch, come into the 1 chain space, create your double crochet, 1 single, 2 chain, another double crochet, and another double crochet, 1 chain space. So this row will be with 3 groups of 3 double crochet all the way around. 1 chain space for me, 2 or 3 for you, depending upon your tension and your hook. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end. Okay, you guys, so we finished doing row 9. Now, for the people that are using the Aunt Lydia number 3, you should have the perfect size for it. Because my thread's a little bit thinner, I'm going to go up 1 more row. And you can increase this way if your thread is thinner. You can just continue to increase, okay? So I'm going into row 10, repeating the same thing. Groups of 3, single, 2 chain, just because I need a little bit more length here on the center and 1 chain space. But if you're using Aunt Lydia number 3, you should have the perfect size. You don't need to increase unless you really want to go as a table centerpiece, okay? And one way to do a table centerpiece is, so basically we are repeating what is here on 1, 2, 3, 4. So row 4, basically it's what we're repeating here, okay? And then if you see row 5 is the same thing, another row of 3, and then row 6 has 4. So you would just repeat until the desired length you'd like the centerpiece. Okay, so groups of 3, double crochet again, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, you guys, so I pretty much finished my row 10. I cut in my thread, and I'm just gonna hide it through some of the loops back here. We're gonna change color. Obviously, we need to start taking shape of the watermelon. I do have quite a bit of friends that have created the same pattern or the same look. Now, eventually, I know that next thing I'm going to get requested for oranges and lemons and limes and things like that, because usually that's like when you start with one fruit, there will be requests on other fruits. And eventually, I will come out and do the doilies on oranges and limes. Eventually, right? I also have to have the right color for it. Hopefully, my store gets the shipment in. Okay, so we have row 10. Now, if you need to go bigger, like I said, all you had to do was repeat the same thing that was done on row 1, 2, 3, 4. So you would do the 3 double crochets like we did on number 9, and then number 10, the 3, and then number 6 here, you do the 4. So you'd go 11, you do the 4. You understand? So you just put a mark and repeat the same process. Going into row 11, I'm coming in with my pink, and you can start anywhere. I'm just going to start here on my one of the first double crochets. We're going to do a double crochet per space. So I have a single, 2 chain, next space, double crochet, next space. I'm trying to hide my thread as I go. Double crochet inside of the 1 chain space, double crochet, next space, double crochet. And here is where it's extremely important that if you have a tight tension to use a bigger hook, because since we're doing only 1 double crochet per space, you will curve if you don't have a loose enough tension. So here's the trick, Miss Joy. You must use a bigger hook, and I'm talking about like 2-3 sizes bigger than your actual hook right now, because doing these closed double crochets, you will curve the pattern extremely, okay? So I'm doing 1 double crochet per space. This is row 11. I'll meet you at the end. Okay, everyone, so I finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, going into row 12. Row 12 is exactly the same thing as row 11. So I'm coming in, doing a single, try to hide my thread. We'll do 1 double crochet per space, so single, 2 chain, next space, double crochet, next space, double crochet, next space, double crochet. Trying to hide my thread here as I go. Now another thing is, if you wanted to increase more of the coloring here, so you would do 2 rows of the same color with the same stitch amount. Because I'm doing a short tutorial, I'm not going to increase more than this, but you can do 2 rows of the pink, 2 rows of the white, and get your pattern to go bigger, as you would want to increase the center also. Okay, so 1 per space. I'll meet you at the end. Okay, everyone, so I'm coming in with the lime green into any double crochet. We're going to repeat the same row again, single, 2 chain, and 1 double crochet per space. Now don't cut your thread after this. We have 1 more row with singles, 1 per space right after this one. Okay, so very simple, nothing to it. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end, 1 per space. Okay, everyone, so we're pretty much finished doing row 13. Now, as you can see, it curves a bit, but once we block, and if we stretch our hands like that over it, it should fall into place, even though it curves a bit. But after blocking, it will all fall into place with a little bit of ironing. Once you put your softener on top, or water, whatever you use. Okay, so I've closed in with a slip stitch. I'm going to come back in the same space, and I'm going to do single, next space, single, next space, single. So this row 14, I believe, 1 2 3 4 5 6, okay, 10 11 12 13. So row 14 single crochets all the way around, and then I'm cutting my thread and coming in with the forest green, and we're almost there. Okay, you guys, so we finished doing row 14. As you can see, it's curved up a bit. It even folds up top. But once we block it, when we stretch with our fingers, we can see it's going to fall into place once it's blocked, and I will show you when I'm ready to block how it all is going to be nice and straight onto the pattern. So I'm coming in with my forest green. This is row 15. You come in on any single, do a single, and now we're going to do chain 5. I'm going to try to hide my thread at the same time in between the loops here of chains. So 1 2 3 4 and 5, because the next row is going to hide it anyway. So I'm going to skip 1 2 on my third one, single, 1 2 3 4 5 chain on my third one, so skip 1 2, single. So this row 15 will be about 1 2 3 4 5 loops of 5 chain into the third space with a single. Okay, I'll meet you at the end. Okay, you guys, so I'm arriving at the end. I have 40 loops here of chain 5. We need to have even numbers, so this is something to remember. If you're going bigger, you must have even numbers on the loop. So I need 42, because I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 space left. I'm going to skip 3, and I'm going into the fourth. So we need to make a little adjustment. 1 2 3. So 1 2 3 4 5 chain. So I have 40 loops already. 1 2 3. On my fourth one, I'm coming in with a single. And so I have 41 loops. 1 2 3 4 and 5. And I'm coming into the first single we did, and I'm going to close it in with slip stitch. So now I have my 42. This is pretty much the last row. I'm coming in with a single, 1 chain, 2 chain. In the same space, I'm going to create 8 more double crochets for a total of 9 double crochets. Actually, I might do another row just of singles all the way around. I'll see as I get to the end, or I might leave it like this, not sure yet. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have 9 double crochets. Next space, single. Next space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Next space directly, single. So this is what it looks like. I'll meet you at the end and decide if I'm doing single crochet all the way through on the next row. Okay, you guys, so I finished row 16. Now what I did, I added my seeds so you can have an idea. This is optional for you if you want to add the seeds to the watermelon, and you can do 2 or 3 rows. I'm only going to do 1 row since my doily is small. But if you wanted to, you could have skipped 1 row here, or 2 rows here, I should say, and do. So 1, 2, 3, 4. On your 5th row, you would do your black seeds. And I'll show you how it's done. You will need a sewing needle, for your thread, your yarn, and cut a long, good piece for it, because we need to hide the black in between the stitches in the back, so the back looks exactly the same as the front going in through the stitches. But I'll show you that. Now you don't have to, it's optional, and you can stop your pattern right here and not do anything else to it. I'm going to try to see if I add another row here. So we've closed in with the slip stitch. I'm coming back into the same one again and doing 2 chain. So I'm doing a double crochet and next space, double crochet, next space, double crochet, next space, double crochet, and again. This is just to give me a little bit more length, height on my watermelon. But like I said, this is optional. You don't have to do it. So you would come in. I'm just going to go directly where I have that single over the single and come back in again and do my 9 double crochets. You don't have to do it. I'm going to do it because I just want a little bit more height on this, since my thread is a little bit smaller than Aunt Lydia. And if you have thinner thread, you can double it and continue on to have that height also. So 9 double crochets over double crochet, and I'm coming directly just right over where I have my single. As you can see, like I said, you can leave it like this, or go ahead and do this, or do just singles all the way around. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end. Okay, you guys, so I finished. I've closed it up. I'm not doing anything else to that edge. And I'm going to show you if you want to do the seeds. So I have a needle, and I'm working on the 9th row and grabbing onto the 7th row. But I'm doing where we have, right, the 5 double crochets here. So I'm skipping a space, as you can see, between them. And we have to hide this thread in between. So I'm skipping this space and I'm coming in right in the center here of this double crochet on row 9. Okay, so I'm going to do a knot here. So nothing comes apart. A knot or 2. Now I don't want to over tighten it, because we don't want to be pulling onto that thread, right? We don't want to shrink our doily. So you can do this from the back or the front, I'm going to leave this for here for now because then I'll pull it to the back and make a few knots on the back, okay? So now, or you can just pretty much bring it here and hide it as you wish. So I'm going to come in, so we have the 5 double crochets here on row 7. I'm going to come into the second one here from the last, and you don't want to stretch that that stitch, so you really have to leave it loose, the same size as the double crochet, right? So I'm just making a knot here already. So I'm just going to leave it the same size as my double crochet. I'm going to come back in, and I'm doing this 3 times. That's the thickness I want for the seeds, okay? So I have 2 already, and this is my 3rd one. And I'm really not tightening it up because I don't want it to tighten up too much. Now I'm coming back in where I had pulled that thread through, and I'm coming in through the loops here, okay, and also through the loops here, and I have to skip this whole space, so I'm going to come in through the center here of the double crochet loops and come out on this side, and then pull it carefully, obviously, because you don't want to pull onto the pattern. Okay, so I'm not pulling more than that. I wanted to leave some loosage, and I'm going to come back in the same space as I pulled out through, so I can hide in the middle of these stitches here, and I'm going to come out on this space here, right on the middle, double crochet, okay, as you can see there, and pull my thread through. So my thread will be hidden from front and back. I'm just going to pull it a bit here. Don't want to pull too much. So it's pretty much hidden here, and it's just going to be hidden in between the stitches in the back also, okay? So you got to make sure you put it in through the loops. And again, I'm coming on the 2nd double crochet here on the 5 double crochets and doing 3 times back and forth. So same size as my double crochet. I'm not over pulling it so it doesn't shrink up my rows. So I have 2 times and 1 more time just to get that thickness of the seed. And then it's just pretty much a repeat again. Come back into the same space, pull through the loops in here in the center, okay? We want to hide this black thread. We don't want to be popping the thread everywhere. So I'm just going to pull it carefully. And then stretch it. We don't want to pull too much on the thread. Okay? And then again. So I'm going to skip 1 square here. I'm coming back in because I don't want this thread to be showing anywhere right in the middle of these double crochets here. And I'm skipping 1 space, and I'm going to come out right here on the 2nd or the middle double crochet. So we skipped a space here, right? Very easy, nothing to it. You're just pretty much hiding that black in between, coming in the 2nd double crochet from the previous row, and then doing your 3 times the same length as your double crochet. So I'm leaving good loosage. I'm not pulling onto it because I don't want it to cramp up my rows, right? So, and that's it. Then you get to the end, hide your thread, make a few knots in the back, and you're good to go. So I'm going to skip, right? But I'm going through the loops back here in the middle of the stitches here. Come out here. I'm going to skip a space. Okay. Come back in into the middle here. And make sure that we hide it in between all of these stitches back here. and then into the second one here from the last row. So that's why you got to give it a good length on your thread when you cut it for the black. And one more time. Whoops. Just going to pull through it here as if we're making a knot, but without pulling too much. And then I'm just going to bring my thread to the back while I'm here already, and I'm going to make a few knots in the back with it, and we're good to go. So I'm going to cut a little bit longer and then just tuck in my loose end here by grabbing the leftover thread in and out, and just make a few knots in between the threads back here. So I'm going to do my first knot here. Make sure you don't pull too much, because then you're going to crumple up your rows. And I'm just gonna again okay, so this does it for this tutorial. Please give a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about it. This makes beautiful gifts, or placemat, of course, for the summertime. Like I said, if you want to make more rows, then go ahead. So I'm just going to pull this thread back here. The very first one we started. So I can hide it in between, make a few knots here on the thread back here. I'm going to do my first knot here. So I need at least 2-3 knots, but I'm going to hold on to it because I don't want to pull too much and loosen up my rows. Okay. And make another knot here. And we should be good to go. Just to make sure that nothing comes apart. And one last one here. Holding on to it. And there you go. So my watermelon placemat is done. Now, I keep knocking everything around me. Good heavens, my table is very limited. So I am spraying the laundry softener. Doesn't matter which one you use, as long as it smells nice, especially if you're giving it as gifts or orders. So I'm going to do front and back, and then I'm going to light iron because I don't have time to wait and get these. Okay, so now that I've done a few squashes here and there, spray, you just pretty much stretch it, okay? Stretch it and let it dry in a flat surface, so everything can stay nice and beautiful. And we have 30 centimeters. So thank you so much, everyone. Until next time, let me know what you think about this watermelon doily. I send you much love, much hugs. Until next time, bye-bye.